If you look at where others are in terms of their progress, it can sometimes be discouraging. And I would caution you, don't judge where you are based on someone else's progress. We're all on different paths. We all have different personalities. We're dealing with different products. We're coming to what we do differently. We're approaching our markets differently. We have a different path. We have a different agenda. We have a different assignment, so to speak. And so it's important that when you evaluate where you are, you're not looking at someone else and saying, oh my God, look at the progress that this person has made. Oh my goodness, look at what this person was able to do. Look at what this person has, and then think because of that, you are somehow behind. There is an interesting thing that happens in the market. Sometimes people think of it as a quantum leap, like, okay, one day someone is at this level and then all of a sudden they're at this other level. Well, there really aren't quantum leaps. I mean, usually, if you're starting out and you're at a certain place, and let's say that great success means that you're making millions of dollars, you're serving millions of people and so forth. You don't leap from serving one person to serving millions of people in one day. That doesn't happen typically. What happens is there is invisible progress that other people don't see. So you come up with a product and you knock on a few doors and they say no and it doesn't quite work. You learn from that and you put more money into your marketing and you sell a few more. You learn from that and then you try another category and you say, oh, if I add that to it, it starts to work. You try a different geographic market and you say, oh, that starts to work. And what happens essentially is these are small incremental steps, at least from the outside, but psychologically, these are big steps. And frankly, in terms of alignment with your ultimate success, these are big steps. And so you look at these little things that are happening and you think, wow, am I making progress? I've only sold this amount. I've only done this amount. I've only achieved this amount. But then you get to a point where that level of consistent activity and commitment and focus clicks in and you have what we call critical mass. And then you can see this explosive growth, but it is based on everything you did before that. Everything you did before that. There's an interesting book out by the film producer, actor, director Tyler Perry, and he talks about the development of his studio and how initially he was doing these live productions, these theater productions. And there's a part of the book that is really fascinating because he says, I was doing this production and I was doing it for, I think he said 5 years consistently. And he said in very clear terms in the book, I lost money every year on every production without fail. I lost money every single time. And he was discouraged, he was frustrated, he had tried all kinds of promoters, all kinds of ways of promoting the shows, putting up flyers, putting in ads, talking to people about it, promoting it in different cities. He said every single one failed. I'm laughing because it just, it can be very frustrating. I'm not laughing at his attempts, but I've been there, trying many things. Nothing seems to work. And he said he reached a stage where he said, look, I'm going to go and get a job. I think he said his mother recommended that he get a job at the phone company and get a job at the phone company because they had great benefits and he could go there and get a job. He said he was on his way to the phone company when he ran into someone who wanted to, or either got a call from someone who wanted to produce this show in Atlanta. And he reluctantly agreed, and they agreed to set this show up in Atlanta. And he said that the night that the show was to go on, it was the coldest night in Atlanta that it had been in ages, and the theater had no heat. So he sat in the dressing room thinking, my God, what do I have to do to get a break here? When he realized, as he looked out the window, that there were people lining up to see the show, and they were coming in coats and so forth, and that was after 5 years or so of failing and failing and failing and failing. That was his critical mass. That was the point where he started to turn the corner, and I think shortly after that he had a couple of shows that sold out and he was on his way. So that's the point. The point is that had he judged his progress by what others were doing, the analysis would have shown that he was failing big time. But many of those people who were doing really well back then now look at him and say, my God, I wish I could create what he has created. I wish I could be where he is. And so he stuck with a bigger plan. He continued to focus and he continued to stick with what he was doing. And it wasn't a quantum leap. It was the result of this incremental progress. You never know who's watching. You never know who's looking at what you're doing and saying, when I can, I'm going to buy from this business. I'm going to support this business. I'm going to do what I can to buy this product. I really like what they do. You don't know. So you have to stick with what you're doing, believe in what you're doing, not measuring the numbers of other people, the visibility of others, the success of others. You've got to run your own race. So the bottom line here is that there is invisible progress that you don't see. You will feel the slight progress, but it will feel like that's not enough. But don't curse those early returns that you start to see progressing. There are more things to come, and you are moving toward the place where you need to be able to claim victory and say, look, I stuck with it and I got the results that I wanted. Don't judge yourself by what other people are doing. Play your own game, run your own race, focus on what you have to do, and deliver the best you can, and you'll get the best in return in time. If you like this tip, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. You can do that by clicking the icon with my photo, and I will see you next time.